Miesau Army Depot, where the 10th Army Air and Missile Defense Command is drawing a battalion's worth of Patriot missiles, demonstrating how speed of assembly right here in strong Europe. And I am joined by a special guest today, Secretary Speer. Thanks for coming out here to Miesau on your, I would say, a whirlwind tour. So let's talk about 10thAAMDC and the job that they do, kind of demonstrating speed of assembly right here in Europe.
Well, it's great to see. I mean, it's the whole theater, actually, in terms of that. But first of all, the role that missile defense now plays. You know, this is the first time we've got back to a near-peer competitor for a long time. With a near-peer competitor, it becomes very important that, you know, we're not going to have the control of the airspace like we used to. And so the role that the missile defense, air defense plays will be critical in defending and deterring here in Europe.
Now, it's my understanding that you just visited 3-4 out in Poland with several vital exercises that they're conducting.
Right.
Talk about the role that the exercises that we conduct here in Strong Europe play and the Army's role here in Europe.
Well, it's a great role, and it's really the picture of the United States Army right now. So I'll go there first, building readiness, building back against full spectrum operations and demonstrating that readiness. Here in Europe, it gets back to part of what you just said, speed of assembly, ensuring we can do project readiness and work with here our allied partners, interoperability of those teams, and showing that we not go from assurance to deterrence, and they're demonstrating that right now.
So the 10thAAMDC demonstrating speed of assembly here in Strong Europe from Miesau Army Depot. We'll have more on the Joe Show coming up on AFN the Eagle. Welcome back to the Joe Show on AFN the Eagle. I am joined by a very special guest, the Acting Secretary of the Army, Robert Speer, out here at Miesau Army Depot, where the 10thAAMDC is drawing a battery's worth of Patriot missiles. So before the break, you talked about readiness and the role that not only AAMDC plays in readiness, but really all of Strong Europe.
Right.
So let's talk about readiness for a second.
Well, I mean, you know, part of the readiness overall picture I was talking about a little bit before, you know, being able to go back to full spectrum operations and project that. You know, we're learning a lot. You know, that's part of the readiness lesson here. You know, we're learning things that we haven't done in a while, but at the same time we're bringing it together with the full operations here. Going from coin operations to where, for instance, I flew with the Apache helicopters here in Europe. And they're relearning how to do full spectrum operations, how to defilate, how to shoot from other things they didn't need to do when they're inside where there's no peer competitors. So building that readiness is critical, and being able to project it here and be able to show that kind of deterrence once again in Europe is critical.
You mentioned deterrence. So how are we going from assurance to deterrence?
Well, initially, just, you know, we had to get individuals here and show that our presence. It was more of a presence was assurance, showing we're here. Now we're not only showing that presence for assurance, we're showing a longer-term commitment, but we're also showing great capability. When you bring over and deploy into theater a full armored brigade and how fast it got here, now we're deterring. And when you start integrating that with our allies, again, it starts going from assurance to deterrence.
Now let's talk real quick about your whirlwind tour of Europe. How has it been so far for you?
It's been great. It's been great. You know, for somebody, for an old soldier with 28 years in the military, you know, I remember Europe a little differently. It was a fort presence, but the Army fought kind of more by itself. We had our other allies, but each individual had a responsibility. We're working together with the allies in a much broader, greater depth in theater. So, you know, everything from ammo stockage, to be able to project further forward with allies before, like Poland, Ukraine. It's critical, that interoperability, and I've seen things here I couldn't even dream about 20, 30 years ago. So it's been a very good trip in terms of learning that. It's understanding and being able to assure people back home there's a purpose here for deterrence and the broader aspect of total readiness of our forces.
And partnering with our 28 NATO allies all across Europe really plays a vital role in what we do here in Strong Europe. That was the Acting Secretary of the Army, Mr. Robert Speer. I am Staff Sergeant Adrian Patoka from the 21st Theater Sustainment Command. You're listening to The Joe Show on AFN the Eagle.